Now, here's the thing. I can understand where people are coming from for this film, because a lot of people said this should have been more of a miniseries than a movie, and I would agree with that, actually. What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is OCD Movie Reviews. My name is On the Brinker, and today I'm going to review the latest Western film, and that is Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1. This is directed by Kevin Costner. This has been his passion project for a very long time and stars him, Jena Malone, Sienna Miller, Sam Worthington, Danny Huston, Luke Wilson. And this movie tells different stories that chronicles a multifaceted 15-year span in pre-post-Civil War expansion and settlement of the American West. So this series that's going to happen has been a passion project for Kevin Costner for a very long time. This is meant to be 4 chapters, like, coming in cinemas. Like, this is chapter 1. We're supposed to get chapter 2 coming out this August, but this movie did bomb, so I don't know if that's even going to happen. But yeah, we're supposed to get 4 chapters in this series coming to theaters. And Kevin Costner has been passionate about doing this Western for a very long time. And I think Kevin Costner is a great actor. I love Kevin Costner as an actor and even director. Like, Dances with Wolves is a total classic. So, I was interested in this movie. From the trailers, I'm like, this looks completely epic. This looks like a Western epic. And from all the reviews this movie's been getting, it's very divisive. Some people find this movie very boring. Some people did like how this movie is. So, I was curious to see what I think of this new series that Kevin Costner is doing. Now, here's the thing. I can understand where people are coming from for this film, because a lot of people said this should have been more of a miniseries than a movie, and I would agree with that, actually, because I do think this movie just felt like a bunch of different episodes of a miniseries and they just put it into one movie. But did I enjoy them? Yes. I don't hate Horizon and American Saga Chapter 1 as much as everyone else did. I actually like the movie. I think the stories of this film is at least investing. I wasn't bored throughout it. Some stories are definitely better than others in this film. There are some good stories in this film, and there are some of my least favorite stories. But this is Chapter 1. This movie is definitely a total setup to what's to come. So there are some stories in Horizon American Saga Chapter 1 where I'm like, okay, it doesn't go back to it. Like, it's one of those stories that's just like there. And I'm like, okay, we'll see what happens in the next one, because it just completely forgets about it. But mostly the stories of this movie focuses on Sienna Miller's character and Sam Worthington's character. What happened during, like, this village rampage with the Indians and what happens between them. I like that story aspect. I thought that story aspect is very interesting in the film. Kevin Costner's story in the film was interesting enough. I think Kevin Costner's great in the film, but I like the camp story a bit more in this film. And there's a story arc with Luke Wilson in the film that's definitely my least favorite story aspect of this film. So yeah, like I said, some stories are better than others in this film. Kind of like with Kinds of Kindness, you know, like, I liked some of the stories in Kinds of Kindness and I didn't like some of the stories in Kinds of Kindness. It kind of has the same thing with Horizon here. But like I said, this movie is definitely a setup movie of what's to come in the latest chapters that I got a feeling they're just going to come out on stand after this movie flops, because some people find this movie boring, some people feel like this is way too old school. I like that this movie is an old school Western movie, and I can see what Kevin Costner is trying to do with this film, and I understand why he wants to put this in theaters, because definitely the scope, the cinematography of this movie is absolutely beautiful. They actually shot this film on locations, and you can really tell the landscapes, the location they filmed this movie in is really breathtaking and really beautiful. It makes the movie definitely look very epic on the big screen. And there are some intense scenes, there are some sad scenes. Like, this movie is definitely not a happy film per se. This movie is definitely a dark and an emotional story that has a lot of really interesting aspects if you are interested in old school westerns and the American Civil War, because this movie definitely has those aspects to it. And I think Kevin Costner did direct this movie very, very well. The problem with this is that it really just felt like a bunch of different episodes of a miniseries and they just put it into one film. But I thought the cast is great, from Sam Worthington, from Danny Huston, from Luke Wilson, even though Luke Wilson's story is not the most interesting in this film. But Kevin Costner, Sienna Miller, definitely the best parts about this film. They're both fantastic in this story. This movie definitely just felt like a bunch of different stories all into one, and the stories that I saw, most of them I did like. So I don't think this movie deserves much hate than everyone else does, but I do understand why people are coming from with Horizon American Saga Chapter 1. Am I curious to see what is going to happen in the latest chapters? I would say yes. I'm curious what's going to happen in Chapter 2 and how the stories are going to expand the film. But one more thing I want to say, the score of this movie is one of my biggest favorite aspects of the film because the score is actually really beautiful in this film. There are some beautiful violin melodies in this film that I was literally like, man, I could literally fall asleep to this and just listen to this beautiful music going to sleep in a really good way because the score of this movie is absolutely great. I do think this movie is way too long. Like, yes, it's 3 hours long and you can definitely do feel the runtime of this film. There are some parts of the film where the pacing definitely goes a bit down, but throughout most of the film, I wasn't bored throughout it because this film definitely feels like a really decent old school western that definitely has the feels of an old school western. And I think Kevin Costner knows what he's doing with this film. So overall, guys, I enjoyed Horizon American Saga Chapter 1 for what it was. I think the stories are better than the others in the film, but most of the stories, I was very invested in the film. The cinematography definitely looks great in the film, and the score and the performances are great, but I do think one of my biggest issues with Horizon American Saga Chapter 1 is that this film really doesn't really belong as a movie, to be honest with you. I feel like it belongs more as a miniseries because this movie definitely feels like different bunch of episodes and they just put it into one movie. But I'm still curious what to see in Chapter 2 and 3 and 4. I think they're just going to go on streaming because of how bigly flopped this movie is. But Kevin Costner for his passion project, I'm really curious to see where it's going to go. And I feel like this is definitely a strong start. But I do think this movie kind of felt more like different episodes of a miniseries and they just put it into one movie. But I still enjoyed the film overall. I gotta say for Horizon American Saga Chapter 1, definitely go see this film at a matinee price. If you're definitely interested in this movie, if you're interested in old school western films, I think you'll enjoy this film. But I enjoyed the film overall. I just think this movie just felt a bit messy when it comes to different types of stories in one movie, and it felt like it could have just been a miniseries, but I'm fine with it as a movie so far. So guys, that was my review for Horizon American Saga Chapter 1. What do you think of this film? Do you like the film, hate the film, or you thought it's okay? Just let me know in the comments below. And what is your favorite western movie of all time? Let me know that also in the comments below. Make sure you guys follow me on social media links down below. Keep contacting with me, and make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for my latest movie reviews and other movie related content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a nice day.